So you probably heard this already, but Cavan Town, the main Garda station in the county, and my local Garda station, because the rest of them were closed, just to say, so long and behold, we have this situation. So at the end the beginning of 2024, there was 94 Gardaí in Cavan, and by the end of it, there was 63. So at the moment of time, give or take, maybe we could, for argument's sake, we say 65. Right? There was a few extra put in. So at the moment in Cavan Town, there's only 65 for the main Garda station in the county. You have to remember the majority of the Garda stations in Cavan are closed or open part time and stuff like that. Like Beltober is not open all the time. They wanted to close Ballyconnor too. They want to close Kinlalek. The only main Garda stations that's open 24/7 are Cavan Town and Bailey, but the rest of the Garda stations are closed. Goodhill is a part-time Garda station, only a few times a week for passports and stuff. So there's only two really big Garda stations in County Cavan. So, for argument's sake, there's only about maybe 100 Gardaí in Cavan, maybe. Give or take, along with Cavan Town, and then if you add Bailey and a few probably Gardaí here and there. There's not that many, and obviously it's dropped. But again, these people didn't resign, as far as we know. They say they were reassigned, like to Dublin and to other parts, along with probably resignations too. Because but this is the next thing too, and a lot of people in Cavan would agree with this, not the head straight away. That even if you look at the comments under this in Northern Sound and the Anglo South, the majority of people are not very happy with Garda Síochána Conn Cavan, and many people would say it too, because people have lost trust in the Garda Síochána. Not only that, majority of the time the guards in Cavan seem to hide in the guards barracks. That's what they seem to be doing when you ring them around, and they seem to be hiding in the guards barracks. They don't want to go out and do any work, it seems, because that's what's been said time and time again. You go to Cavan Town now, 8:30 on Monday morning, and try and get up Main Street, Farnham Street, where the Garda station is, because of the schools, the traffic, because the children go to school, secondary school, work. It's chock-a-blocked. For about 30 to 40 minutes, it's chock-a-blocked. And sometimes the Gardaí go out and direct the traffic, but the majority of the time they don't bother. There's Gardaí in the station, they just don't want to do it, to be totally honest. That's the issue. And you ask, I know 3 or 4 women I could bring on here, and they could say to me, and they know about it, because they have to go through it every day of the week, because they're going to walk up the town, and it takes them 40 minutes nearly to get to walk through Cavan, because there's that much traffic coming from St. Pat's, coming from Breffni, going to the schools, the primary schools. It's literally insane, and I have to deal with it every morning too, going to work. But thankfully, I don't have too far to go. They have to go to the other side of the town, and they have to go through the town to get to it. So they're pretty, banjoed either way. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of people have lost trust, and just off the record, it's not off the record, but I said about it in one live stream one time. Before I went to Finland last year, I had to go get my passport because I never got it. I had to get it signed for a member of Garda Síochána Conn. I went in after work one day, I had to wait 20 minutes in the lobby of the Garda station here, this Garda station in Cavan Town. There was nobody on the desk. I had to get up and walk out of the Garda station. So imagine if I was a victim of crime and I had to get up and walk out of the Garda station because there was nobody there. Obviously, they'd probably seen me. They're watching the cameras. They just wouldn't bother to deal with it. They didn't want to take anything. It's the same with many. I know people who have reported burglaries, who've reported stuff stolen. The Gardaí really probably just don't want to do it. They have the attitude that they don't really want to take it, and they couldn't be asked to take the report. It's the same with one person. I know a man who it was a tour of €1,000 was stolen from a graveyard up in a graveyard. He was visiting the graves. He's a tradesman, and he happened to leave the van unlocked because he just forgot he was going to the grave. And the people, with somebody watching, that took his tour of €1,000. They knew what they were looking for, but they took that tour. The Gardaí came out, took his report, didn't bother to say, he never heard back from what I'm trying to say. They never really bothered. They wouldn't bother to take the report. They just didn't bother to really look. They probably never looked into it. They never cared to look into it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that person has lost a lot of faith in Garda Síochána Conn. He was telling me if anything ever was stolen again, he wouldn't bother to his arse to go to the Gardaí because nothing would ever be done about it. And the Gardaí nearly wouldn't be asked to take your statement. And it's the same with that. And I had to go in the next day into the Garda station, and there was a guard there, a young guard. He wasn't asked. He was only after getting out of bed. And only for me being very persuasive, more or less, what I'm trying to say is I wasn't going to take his bullshit. Because he's a member from Garda Síochána Conn getting paid to stand there on the Garda station. He's going to fill up that passport regardless of what he does. So he done it begrudgingly. Only for he knew I was going to flip my shit, and I was going to flip my shit because he's there for a reason. He's not there and he's sitting in the Garda station. So the least he could do is fill it out. Like, I'm not asking him for money or anything like that. I'm only asking him to fill out a form. begrudgingly. And again, if there was no such thing, I wouldn't be going into them. But yeah, a lot of people in Cavan are the same. A lot of people in Cavan don't feel safe. And it hasn't been said in Dublin, Sandy Angus, but a lot of people don't. There's been incidents in Cavan, particularly up there, about a young girl being attacked. We can't say too much about it because the media will cry about it, and the Gardaí will cry about it. But because they don't really want to talk about it. But then recently too, there was assaults in Cavan, etc., etc. And people don't feel safe in general walking the streets. In Catil there, take for example, there's many attempted abductions. In Kingscourt the same. People don't feel safe. So and the Gardaí in Cavan are not shown the one the people's side. We have to remember too, a former superintendent in Cavan was caught with loads of drugs. We could go on. But yeah, there's a huge issue with trust, first of all, in the Garda Síochána on Cavan, particularly in the town and other parts of Cavan. There's a huge issue with trust. People don't trust them. People can't rely on the guards. That's what I'm trying to say. Because people are winging the guards and they take an hour or two to turn up, to bother to turn up. And maybe that's not their fault with the numbers and stuff like that, but when they come out, they're not really bothered to investigate it or do anything about it. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the attitude a lot of people get when they're doing it, because they just don't feel safe. And we could talk about till the cows come home. But it's unfortunate to say, because years ago people could rely on the Gardaí in Cavan. They could rely on them to do their job and to keep people safe. Nowadays, unfortunately, we can't. We simply can't. So I don't know if it's an attitude or stuff like that, but it's still begrudgingly very upsetting to see that the numbers have fallen. As I said, from 94 to 63. And this is the largest reduction in the state in terms of Garda numbers in the county. And obviously, as I said at the beginning, only Cavan Town and Baileyport is open. The rest of the Garda stations are only open by hot time, etc., etc. But it doesn't look like anything will be done about it, to be honest, because I hardly doubt anything will be done about it. But there needs to be another question asked too, because there's many different ways of looking at it. But the thing is, why is people not joining the Garda Síochána? And that's the thing we need to ask. Why is Irish people not joining it? We need to ask this question. Obviously, it's a hard job. It's not an easy job. I'm sure people would agree with me. But a lot of people don't want to join. They're going off to join the New South Wales Police Force, other police forces in Australia. So, and obviously, as Maurice McCabe said, John Wilson is the biggest criminal gang in the state in Garda Síochána. A lot of people have lost lost trust in the Garda, and I think that's the main thing too for a lot of young people that's coming out of secondary school, wanting the job or career. They've lost trust. They don't have faith in the Garda Síochána. They don't want to be a part of it. They've seen about Maurice McCabe. They've seen many times. I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen Gardaí up in court for different things. They just lost faith in it, to be totally honest. And it's sad to see in the society when you lose faith in the policing system and in terms of the justice system, but it's unfortunate that's the reality. We can't be delusional, because that's what's happening. So yeah, let me know what you think. I know it might be a bit too harsh, but a lot of people in Cavan would be very harsh, would say the same thing as I just said there, that a lot of them are hiding. If you ask anybody from Cavan, the majority of people would say they're hiding in the guards' barracks, a lot of them. Particularly in the morning. If you ask anybody that goes into Cavan Town in the morning around 8:30, you're going to work or going to drop the kids to school, they would tell you the same. They would generally tell you the same, because many of the mornings they probably wait an hour to get out of the traffic jam. But yeah, let me know what you think. Subscribe from what I'm by.